A black and white photograph, May 9th, 1940. A B-10 bomber sits on an airfield in England. 10 young men stand in front of it, smiling. They look exhausted, relieved, alert. The photograph caption reads, Memphis Belle crew, first to complete 25 missions. That photograph became one of the most famous images of World War II. The bomber behind them became a legend. Hollywood made movies about her. Historians wrote books. Museums preserved her. But that caption is a lie. Not about the courage, not about the missions, but about being first. Because 6 days before that photo was taken, another bomber completed 25 missions. And 12 days before that, a third bomber finished the race. Both were forgotten. One was literally cut up and sold for scrap metal. The first finisher, historians didn't even know her crew's names until the 1980s. This is the story of how 3 bombers raced to survive a death lottery, how one won, how one got the glory, and how the greatest PR campaign of World War II rewrote history because a bomber's name didn't focus group well. This is a story about heroes. All of them deserve fame. Only one received it. And the reason why will make you question everything you thought you knew about how war heroes are chosen. November 1942. 8th Air Force bases scattered across England. American B-10 Flying Fortress bombers are dying at an apocalyptic rate. The theory behind daylight precision bombing sounds beautiful in Washington briefing rooms. Fly high, fly tight formation. Use the Norden bomb sight, the most advanced targeting system in the world, to drop bombs on factory roofs from 25,000 feet. Destroy Nazi industrial capacity. Win the war. But theories don't account for reality. And the reality over Europe is slaughter. German Messerschmitt 109s and Focke-Wulf 190s swarm bomber formations like sharks around wounded whales. They attack from 12 o'clock high, diving from the sun where gunners can't see them. They fire 20-millimeter cannons that punch through aluminum skin like paper. Sometimes they just ram bombers, kamikaze, before the word existed. And then there's flak anti-aircraft artillery, 88-millimeter shells that explode at altitude, filling the sky with shrapnel. Each black puff looks harmless from a distance, just a little cloud. Up close, it's a shotgun blast of metal fragments traveling at 1,500 feet per second. It tears wings off, shreds engines, kills crews. A bomber crew's statistical life expectancy, 11 missions, not 11 months. 11 missions. If you're flying your 12th mission, congratulations. You've beaten the actuarial tables. You're living on borrowed time. The magic number is 25. Complete 25 combat missions over Europe, and your tour is over. You rotate home. No more missions, no more flak. No more watching your friends burn to death at 25,000 feet. But 25 missions is mathematically nearly impossible. The odds of a crew completing 25 missions in late 1942, approximately 6%. 6 out of every 100 crews. And by November 1942, exactly 0 American heavy bomber crews in Europe have completed 25 missions and rotated home. 0. The finish line exists in theory only. Men arrive at bases in England, get assigned to a bomber, fly 3 missions, and disappear. Their bunks are empty at breakfast. Nobody talks about it. You just look at the empty bed and think, will that be me tomorrow? Morale is collapsing. Crews are showing up for missions, pale, shaking, vomiting from fear. Some refuse to fly. Courts-martial, coward shot. The survivors fly the next mission, wondering if today's the day their number comes up. 8th Air Force Command knows they need proof that survival is possible. One crew, just one. Complete 25 and come home. That crew would prove the odds can be beaten, would give hope to thousands of terrified boys climbing into bombers every morning. And so, not officially, but understood by everyone, a race begins. First to 25 wins everything. Fame, glory, a ticket home. 3 bombers enter this race. By May 1943, only one would be remembered. November 7th, 1942, RAF Molesworth, England, B-17F serial number 41-24577, sits on the tarmac, freshly painted on her nose, a cartoon devil in red, wings spread holding a pitchfork, and a name, Hell's Angels. The name isn't random. Her crew, 10 men from the 3rd Bombardment Group, 3/8th Squadron, chose it because they know what they're flying into. Hell. Every mission, the name is a middle finger to the odds. We know we're flying into hell. We're the angels who do it anyway. But Hell's Angels will become a problem, not now. Later, when it matters most. For now, they're just another crew. Pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, flight engineer, radio operator, 2 waist gunners, ball turret gunner, tail gunner, ages 19 to 26. Most of them will never be famous. History won't record their names in bold type, but they make a decision that sets them apart. They will fly every mission on the same airplane. This is rare. Most crews rotate between whatever beasties are available. An engine needs repair? Fly a different one. Hydraulics shot out? Take another plane. But Hell's Angels crew refuses. They fly her or they don't fly. They get to know every rivet, every sound. When the number 3 engine coughs on startup, they know it's just temperamental. Wait 5 seconds, it smooths out. When the tail shakes during climbs, they know it's the rudder trim, not structural failure. They trust her. She's not a Bizet. She's their Bizet. First mission, November 1942. Target, Saint-Nazaire, France. U-boat pins, thick concrete fortifications the bombers can barely scratch. But they have to try. U-boats are strangling convoys, starving Britain. Hell's Angels flies through moderate flak, returns with 7 holes, but returns. The crew doesn't celebrate. They just mark it down. 1 mission, 24 to go. November 7th, 1942. RAF Bassingbourn, England. 10 days earlier, Beehoof serial number 41-24485 lifts off on her first combat mission. Target, Brest, France. Submarine facilities. This bomber doesn't have a name yet, just a number. But her pilot, Captain Robert K. Morgan, 24 years old, Asheville, North Carolina, has an idea. Morgan is dating a girl back home, Margaret Polk, from Memphis, Tennessee. Beautiful, writes him letters, sends photos. She's his good luck charm, his reason to survive this war. He names the bomber after her, Memphis Belle. An artist paints a pinup girl on the nose, blonde, blue dress, legs crossed, sexy but tasteful. This is 1943. Standards matter. Beneath the pinup, Memphis Belle in elegant script. Morgan's crew is solid. Co-pilot Jim Varenis, navigator Chuck Layton, bombardier Vince Evans, and 6 others whose names, like Hell's Angels crew, most people will never learn. They fly to Brest, take some flak, nothing catastrophic, return with minor damage. Morgan is handsome, photographs well, confident, articulate, the kind of officer who looks good in front of cameras. The 8th Air Force Public Affairs Office notices this. starts taking photos, just in case Morgan's crew becomes useful for publicity. By December, both Hell's Angels and Memphis Belle are flying regularly. Bremen, Wilhelmshaven, Lorient, mission after mission. The race is on. But there's a third contender, one almost nobody noticed. Delta Rebel number 2. We don't know when she started flying. Records are sparse. We know she was a B-17F assigned to the 91st Bombardment Group. We know her crew was determined, but Delta Rebel stayed quiet. No press, no publicity, just missions. Target after target. Norway, France, Germany. While Hell's Angels and Memphis Belle were getting attention, Delta Rebel was grinding. Silent, efficient. By April 1940, she'd flown 24 missions, one away from immortality. And nobody outside the 91st Bomb Group even knew her name. December 1942 through April 1940, the killing season. Schweinfurt, ball-bearing factories, 300 Bisons attack, 60 don't return. That's 600 men. Dead or captured. Bremen, shipyards. Flak so thick, pilots say you could walk on it. Bombers fall like burning leaves. Men bail out. Parachutes blossom white against black smoke. German fighters sometimes strafe parachuting crews. War crime happens anyway. Wilhelmshaven, submarine pens on the North Sea coast. The target for Memphis Belle's 25th mission, according to the documentary film. Thick flak batteries ring the coast. Radar-directed fire, accurate, deadly. Memphis Belle flies all of them. Returns every time with damage. Engine smoking, tail shot full of holes. Hydraulics leaking. Once she came back with 21 flak holes. Mechanics counted them. 21 holes, but all 10 crew alive. Another mission, 2 engines dead. She should have gone down. Morgan coaxed her home on 2 engines, something pilots said was barely possible with a full bomb load. Hell's Angels flies the same missions. Takes her hits, keeps flying. Her crew develops rituals. Same breakfast before every mission. Powdered eggs, burnt toast, terrible coffee. Same pre-flight checklist. Same prayer before engine start. Superstition? Maybe, but they're alive. Don't fix what isn't broken. Delta Rebel number 2 just grinds. No stories, no drama, just missions. By April, all 3 bombers are in the low 20s. So close. And then the race ends fast. May 1st, Delta Rebel number 2 completes her 25th mission, first heavy bomber in the European Theater of Operations to reach 25 missions. First crew to statistically accomplish the impossible. They land. Crew climbs out. They're going home. 8th Air Force Public Affairs Office planned to make this a huge event. Parade, publicity tour, war bonds, morale boost, proof that 25 is achievable. But Delta Rebel finished on a Saturday. PA office was short-staffed. They decided to wait. Announce it when the crew actually boards the ship home. Better optics, more dramatic. Then fate intervened. August 17th, 4 months later, Delta Rebel number 2, now flying with a different crew, is part of a massive raid on Schweinfurt. The mission becomes a disaster. 60 bombers lost. Delta Rebel is one of them. Shot down over Germany, all crew killed. 8th Air Force quietly decides not to publicize that Delta Rebel had completed 25 back in May. Bad optics. How do you throw a parade for a dead bomber? The first finisher vanishes from history, forgotten. Most records of her crew lost. We don't even know all their names. First place, erased. Maeve Sit Atpuri RAF Molesworth. Hell's Angels completes her 25th mission. Target, Kiel, Germany, naval facilities. Heavy flak, fighters. They fight through, drop their bombs, fly home. Wheels touch down. The crew climbs out. 10 men, all alive, all going home. They did it. Second to finish. but first to survive with records intact. First official winners. The crew celebrates, thinks they're getting the ticker tape parade, the war bond tour, the glory. 8th Air Force Public Affairs Office has other plans. May 18th, RAF Bassingbourn. Memphis Belle crew completes their 25th mission. Target, Lorient, France. Submarine pens, a milk run, relatively safe mission. No drama. They land. Mission 25 complete, but there's a technical complication. Memphis Belle, the aircraft, has only flown 23 missions with Morgan's crew. Twice. She was being repaired, so Morgan and his crew flew 2 missions on different B-17s. The Belle herself completes her 25th mission 2 days later, May 19th, with a different crew at the controls while Morgan's team rests. So, technically, Hell's Angels finished 6 days earlier. Their crew and their aircraft both completed 25 together. Purest victory. Memphis Belle's crew flew 25 missions, but not all on the Belle. 8th Air Force now has a choice. Logic says, Hell's Angels wins, first to 25. Cleanest record. But logic doesn't run war publicity. Late May, NOPRD 8th Air Force Public Affairs Office. Secret meeting. 2 bombers. Both completed 25. Both survived. Both deserve recognition. But there's only budget for one big publicity campaign. 1 bomber, 1 crew, 1 story. They look at Hell's Angels. First to finish, clear winner, deserves every bit of glory. Then someone raises a hand. The name, Hell's Angels. In 1943 America, this is a publicity nightmare. Religious groups will protest. Why are we glorifying a plane named after demons? Mothers will write angry letters to Congress. Newspapers will run editorials questioning military values. It doesn't matter that the crew earned the name through combat. Doesn't matter they flew through hell and survived. PR doesn't care about fairness. PR cares about optics. Someone suggests asking the crew to rename the plane, but that feels wrong, insulting. These men bled for that name. They look at the alternative, Memphis Belle. Clean, wholesome. Named after a pretty girl from Tennessee, the pinup art is sexy but tasteful. Perfect for posters, war bond rallies, church basements, and Captain Robert Morgan. Handsome, well-spoken, photographs beautifully, charismatic. The newspapers already love him. The PA office makes the call. June 8, 1943. Memphis, Belle and crew board a transport plane for the United States. Publicity tour, glory, fame. Hell's Angels stays in England, ordered to keep flying. The betrayal. Hell's Angels flies 23 more missions after completing 25. 23 additional missions, through flak, through fighters, through hell. Total 48 combat missions, more than any other BSIT in the 8th Air Force at that time. They never aborted a mission, never turned back, never refused an assignment. 48 times they flew into enemy fire. 48 times they came home. Finally, January 1944, 8 months after finishing 25, Hell's Angels is retired. Sent to the United States for a tour of Boeing assembly plants. Factory workers need morale too. But by then, Memphis Belle has been a national sensation for 6 months. Hell's Angels' arrival is barely noticed. A few local newspapers run stories. Factory workers take photos. Then silence. The crew tries to tell reporters, we were first, 6 days before Belle. Nobody cares. The story's been written. Memphis Belle is the hero. History is already set. In August 1945, the war ends. 8th Air Force starts liquidating surplus aircraft. Hell's Angels, the bomber that proved 25 missions was possible, is declared surplus equipment. Sale price $500. The first BC to complete 25 missions, 48 total missions. Never turned back, sold for scrap metal. She was cut up, melted down, probably turned into aluminum siding for suburban homes in the 1950s. Gone. Meanwhile, Memphis Belle becomes America's bomber. June through December, 40, Morgan and crew tour 31 American cities, Dallas, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. Millions see the Belle, millions hear the story. The crew shakes hands with governors, meets movie stars, sells war bonds, raises $32 million, equivalent to nearly $500 million today. Hollywood director William Wyler, who'd been embedded with the 8th Air Force as a combat cameraman, releases a documentary in April 1944, The Memphis Belle, a story of a flying fortress. 41 minutes. Wyler filmed actual combat missions, composited of several flights, and edited it into gripping cinema. You see the flak, the fighters, the fear on crew faces, the bomber limping home with engine smoking. American audiences watch it in theaters and cry, "This isn't propaganda that feels fake. This is real, raw, terrifying, triumphant." The film cements Memphis Belle's legend. She's not just a bomber anymore. She's a symbol. Proof that American boys can survive this war. Proof the sacrifice is worth it. Proof we're going to win. The War Department loves it. Shows the film to new bomber crews during training. See? 25 missions is possible. Memphis Belle did it. You can too. Thousands of young men climb into B-17s believing they can be the next Belle. Many of them die. But belief matters. Hope matters. The Belle gave them hope. Is it based on a lie? Technically, yes. She wasn't first, but emotionally, it's true. She proved survival was possible. That emotional truth saved lives, even if the historical record was selective. Captain Robert Morgan doesn't rest. After 6 months of war bond tours, he requests return to combat. Most officers would take the promotion, the desk job, retire as heroes. Morgan goes back to war, but not Europe. The Pacific, November 1944. He's assigned to pilot a B-29 Superfortress. His new bird, Dauntless Dottie. Bigger, faster, more advanced than the B-7, he flies combat missions over Japan. On one mission, November 24, 1944, Morgan pilots the lead B-29 in formation for one of the first major raids on Tokyo since Doolittle. They bomb the city, fight through fighters, fly home. Morgan survives the war, returns a hero again. He lives until 2004, 85 years old, attends air shows, gives interviews, signs autographs, never stops talking about the Belle. In interviews, he never mentions Hell's Angels. Maybe he didn't know they were first. Maybe he did and chose to believe his own legend. Either way, he carried the Belle's story until he died. 1980s. Military historians start digging. They find Hell's Angels mission logs buried in National Archives. May 13, 1943, 25th mission complete. 6 days before Memphis Belle finished, they find Delta Rebel No. 2 records. May 1, 1940, 25 missions. Even earlier, then death, 4 months later. The truth emerges. Memphis Belle wasn't first, she was third. Newspapers run corrections. Military history journals publish articles. WWII. Those two enthusiasts debate it online. But by then, it doesn't matter. In 1990, Hollywood releases Memphis Belle, a dramatized feature film starring Matthew Modine, Eric Stoltz, Harry Connick Jr. Big budget, big stars. The Belle becomes pop culture again. Books, documentaries, museum exhibits. Memphis Belle is iconic. Up to 2018, 17 years of painstaking restoration. Memphis Belle is rebuilt to display condition. Every panel, every rivet, hundreds of volunteers, millions of dollars. May 2018, Memphis Belle goes on permanent display at the National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. Massive ceremony, veterans, press, thousands attend. She sits in the World War II gallery now, gleaming, beautiful, restored. A plaque reads, Memphis Belle completed 25 missions, first in 8th Air Force to achieve this milestone. The museum later adds a correction noting the history is complicated. But most visitors don't read the fine print. They just see the bell, take photos, feel the history. Hell's Angels. The 303rd Bombardment Group adopted Hell's Angels as their official group nickname after the war. It's the only memorial to the original bomber, the only thing that survived. Delta Rebel Number 2, a footnote, a name in academic histories. Most people have never heard of her. Her crew's names are lost, their sacrifice forgotten. September 2000 in RAF Molesworth, England, where the 303rd Bombardment Group once operated, a memorial is dedicated. A simple stone marker. It reads, in memory of B-17F Hell's Angels, 41-24577. First heavy bomber to complete 25 combat missions in the European theater, May 13, 1940. A handful of elderly veterans attend, 80s and 90s now. Some flew on Hell's Angels, some knew the crew. A reporter asks one veteran, "Do you resent Memphis Belle getting the credit?" Long pause. Then, "We know the truth. The guys we flew with know the truth. That's enough." Another veteran adds, "Belle gave hope to thousands of crews after us. If she needed to be first for that story to work, then fine. We lived. That's what matters." And maybe that's the real story. War isn't fair. Glory isn't distributed by merit. Sometimes the wrong plane gets the parade because the story needs a certain shape. Sometimes the first finisher is forgotten because their name didn't market test well. But all three crews were heroes. All three deserved recognition. Only one received it. Hell's Angels crew knew they were first. They knew history would eventually record the truth. And they chose to let Memphis Belle have the spotlight because it served a greater purpose, giving hope to the men who flew after them. That's a different kind of courage. Not the courage to fly through flak, the courage to be forgotten so others could be inspired. Today, you can visit Memphis Belle in Dayton, Ohio. She sits in climate-controlled glory. Thousands see her every year, touch her aluminum skin, stand in her shadow, feel the history. If you look closely, you can see the nose art, the pinup girl, Memphis Belle in script, the bomb mission markers painted on the fuselage, 25 bombs, 25 missions. The museum staff will tell you about Captain Morgan, about William Wyler's documentary, about the legend. If you really ask, they'll also tell you about Hell's Angels, about how she was technically first, about how the story is complicated. Most visitors don't ask, they just see the bell, marvel, take selfies, tell their kids, this plane was the first to complete 25 missions. And maybe that's okay, because Memphis Belle did matter. She gave hope. She proved survival was possible. She inspired thousands. The fact that she wasn't first doesn't erase her importance. It just makes the story more human. Humans are messy. History is selective. War is complicated. And sometimes The right story matters more than the right facts. Hell's Angels was first. Delta Rebel was forgotten. Memphis Belle became legend. All three crews were heroes. All three flew through hell. All three earned glory. But only one got the parade, and that's war.